Hi guys, back again with me, Austin from Mobile Hut. Today I'm going to share to you my experience on Bandai SHFigurearts, Marvel, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Rocket and Groot. So this is based on the appearance on the movie Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Rocket Raccoon and Baby Groot. I think this is a web exclusive as well. It came with this outer box. Okay. So that's additional protection to the box, and it doesn't came with the window just like Star-Lord. Okay, because I think for online customer they don't need it. So a bit of artwork at the front. Okay, these two guys here, very cool. The figure itself in pose. The figure itself in poses. Rocket and Groot. La la la. And then at the back, a bit of features, the mold, the articulation, and the accessories. So without further ado, this is the figure. Let's take a closer look at Rocket and Groot. Before I start with Rocket, I just want to mention to you that we are being given these two baby Groot, one in the Ravager suit and the other one is bare naked. It's very small, by the way, but yet they still put a bit of articulation. Now I already measured these guys. They stand for roughly about 2 centimeters or around 0.89 or 90 inch, around that, probably 895 inch, 0.895 around that, and it's very small. Okay. Let me give you a comparison with Hasbro version. This is Hasbro version, and this is the Figuarts version, the smaller one. So this is practically a statue, but this one, they actually give us a bit more articulation. There's a very tiny ball joint on the head, so you have rotation. And then there's a swivel on both of the arms, but the rest of the body statue. But I can see, although it's very small, the very little bit of details on the jacket. And let's try to move the arm up. Ta-da! Okay, the same goes with this naked version. It's also a ball joint on top. Okay. I like the fact that they still give more a bit of shading here and there on the face, on the head especially, despite being so small, right? The arm also equipped with swivel, and it's very hard to move this one at first because it's very tiny. Look at that, right? So what I did was I kind of popped off the arm first, and then I tried to move it around, and it worked. It works better. Okay, so there it is. He moved his hand. Okay, now the hands are interchangeable. May not be very visible on the camera, but the one on the the naked one here is smiling actually, and the one here is kind of pouting or sad. And they gave us another hat, which I'm going to show you just by taking this out. So it's a very tiny hat. They actually gave us one more hat. Okay, finally I managed to pop the additional hat, the extra one hat that we have been given. It's kind of a confused look on him, but somehow I tried to play it a bit. To put on this extra hat to both of the body is more difficult than the default one. So I tried to exchange the two hats. Look at that, how teeny that ball joint is. I tried to exchange both default hat. It works really easy. It just click very easily, but I don't know why this doesn't work really well. You kind of force your way a little bit, but be careful because it may break. It's very small, but overall I really like it. I appreciate it. Let's try to put on the default hat once again to see it. This is the okay. I'll try to change the head. I'll swap the head, this smiling one into this one, and the sad one into this one. Alright, so basically the default head works better than the extra one. It can be exchanged between the two easily. Okay, and the additional accessory is that we are being given the stand, transparent stand. It works uniquely, so one is for specific figure, this one is for this Groot. Doesn't click or anything, but it kind of help if you want to display him like this. Okay, like that. And then the refrigerator one is this one. Okay, you just have to try to find out which one is which. Not the hardest thing to do really. Okay, however, I found that the refrigerator one, I think due to the mold, can stand easily without the stand. Okay, without the help of this transparent stand. So depends, I think I'll display him without the stand because I prefer it that way. For Rocket, it is a very good little figure as well. Not as small as Groot, of course, but being the size of Rocket is quite small for standard figure arts characters, and it's very cool to see that all the standard or the principle in SHFigurearts figure is all being thrown into a package into the small figures. So that's cool. I can even see that butterfly joint there, super paint job and awesome sculpt. Of course, the head sculpt is normally stylized into SHF's version or style, but that's okay. It still is raccoon. I mean, it looks like a raccoon, so what do you expect, right? I like the shading here and there, though, and the paint is superb. This default face that he's making here is kind of smirking face. He has two more face. I'll show you later on the accessories when I'm going to show you accessories, but now let's focus on this. This is the body mold. I like the paint. I like the kind of fur effect on the arms, on the head. This is probably his jetpack, no gimmick on it though. The tail, kind of stiff, a bit of articulation though, I'll explain later. So it's painted mostly, the cloth is kind of matte color. Let's compare quickly with the Hasbro version. Hasbro is somehow is a bit different. Well, I'm not sure about accuracy really. I'm not going to complain or explain about that, but oh, the Hasbro version doesn't have the backpack, but here we have the backpack, so we have that option now if you have two of them, so that's very cool. Okay, that's a quick comparison. There's a bit of differences in molding details on the two, so I'm not going to argue with that. I mean, Hasbro is doing really well on this one as well, even on the head, so that's great. So for the head, I already mentioned that we have this smirking head. We also have two more. This is the cool and quiet version of Rocket, which is something that is not usual for this character, but it looks very cool. Looks very solemn. And here's the open mode angry version of, or battle cry version of the head of Rocket. Looks awesome. Let's compare it to Hasbro version as well. Actually both are really great. I think even the detail on inside the mouth is awesome as well. So it's really cool. And changing the head is very easy. Just pop the ball head joint, the ball joint, and it's all set. Now for the arms, the palm, I mean, we have this closed fist palm, which is the default. Then we have the open palm, I give up hand just like Star-Lord does. Okay, let's turn it around. We also have this claw making, trying to scare baby's hand, or scratching face hand. So either way, it's okay, it's provided. And of course we have the mandatory gun wielding hand, and it is already pre-molded to the palm, which is understandable because it's very small, right? So I can understand that reasoning. Let's compare quickly with the Black Series version. It's very much the same style, okay, but the paint job is different. Black Series is more like dark metallic, whereas Figureart is more colorful. Okay, so changing the palm can be a bit troublesome because of the size, but it's actually very functional. It means that not really difficult actually, but you just have to be careful when you push to the ball joint. Just be careful because it's very tiny. For the articulation, it's very much standard SHFigurearts articulation points. It's just that it's smaller. It's on a smaller figure. So the head is this part is attached to the ball joint, which is attached to this neck, which is also attached to a ball joint down below. So we have rotation, and then of course if we combine the two, we have this much going down, that much going up, a bit side to side from the neck and from the head. So we get maximum, I think, a lot of movement there. The arm area is also similar to what we have on standard Figurearts figure. We have the, let me just show you. Okay, this is the floating part which follows. Okay, this part actually follows, and then there's a ball pack here which joins to the hole there. So this allows for the butterfly joint, and this ball pack is actually attaches to a ball hinge joint here. It is a hinge and it's a ball as well. Let me show you. See, there's a circle there. It's the hinge movement up and down like that, but it also rotates on the arm here. So I think this is more visible than Star-Lord. So it's a good example to explain how this joint works. So because of those combination, we have like butterfly, and then we have the shoulder moving side to side like that. If we adjust, because there's a bit of mold here, some movement can be a bit tricky, but it's very much doable. So don't worry, you just have to see, you have rotation actually, and by adjusting the hinge you can have like a bit to the side and upward like that. So you just have to adjust the hinge. Okay, it's just that when you want to move outward because of this part on the shoulder pad, and then you have this mold of the shoulder, notice that the shoulder mold is actually cross the what do you call this, is longer than the floating part. So when you want to move it up like that, normally what normally we have with Marvel Legends, it will stuck. But if you go a bit downward and then move it up, move it up alongside the floating part, it could work. Wait a second, it could up. Okay, it's a bit hindered, but you know that it's possible. Okay, so you have a lot of motion there, really. And the elbow is you can bend this much. I do believe there is rotation there. Yep, there's a ball hinge joint after all, the same that we have on the arm here, on the armpit. And then it's also a ball pack to a ball hinge joint. So you see this very small circle there. is the hinge, which allows the arm to move up and down. But then because of the ball pack which attaches to the palm, you have rotation here, and I believe you have rotation here, although it might be very tight compared to this one. So depend on your figure, sometimes it rotates here, sometimes it rotates on this side. Okay, you'll know, you understand. Okay, so in this case I think it rotates on a bit on the palm and a bit here. Okay, I just rotated just now. The one on the diaphragm is a ball join this gap. I tried to move it around, but it's kind of limited because of the mold. So not much to the front, not much to the back. And then you have the belly joint as well here, and also not much movement for rotation. But if you combine the two, then you can have something like this. Okay, I think that's the maximum. And if you combine the two joint backward, that's the extent of it. Yeah, the tail is only a swivel, or it's just rotation basically. So Hasbro has more articulation on this part. The thigh is on a ball joint. Okay, ball, yeah, it's also a ball pack which attaches to this part. Basically you have front kick, you have rotation up there, I believe. Back kick not so much. A bit of, this is the opening of the kick, so it's very small, it's very hard to explain the mechanism, but at least you know that what you got is a good movement. It's the same with what Star-Lord has, just smaller. The knee, you have the same mechanism as well. It's a good range of motion. The bend is very deep, more than 90 degrees. I think we don't have rotation here. And down on the ankle we have, okay, this is the differences. I think it's probably a ball joint, but it's very small, so not much pivot there. The swivel is the one that really stands out. I'm not sure, I may be wrong, but that's my impression that we have. And then we have a bit of toe joint there. Okay, up and down. Oh, that's a long up. I want to point out as well, because the size of this rocket is very similar to what Hasbro has, so you can kind of use this as an alternative to put him on Groot's shoulder like this. Okay, just for an alternative, depending on what you like more. We're also being given this piece of transparent stand. Notice there are 3 holes here, so we can plug the stand arm stand, or whatever you want to call it, into one of this hole. It's very easy. Okay, and it's quite short for a stand. You can turn this around, and the other one, so I just swivel, because you can turn it around as well. Very standard. I presume they do this because they were afraid that rocket won't stand by itself, but it actually stand by itself. So yeah, but anyway, I'll take anything that they can provide us with. So I appreciate this stand as an accessories. Rocket is standing roughly around probably 3 inches, slightly below 3 inches tall. Okay, and again, it's not very hard for him to stand without to stand by itself without help. So this is compared to Hasbro version. They're actually about the same height, so it's good to know that you can actually use this rocket for an alternative of your Hasbro version with a good sculpt and good articulation. This compared to Star-Lord, whoops, SHF Star-Lord, and compared to Hasbro Star-Lord, I think it's not that bad. So yeah, glad to know that we have this option. And of course this is the 2 grid that we are being given with their stand. Oh, actually this one can stand by itself. Oops, it's a bit difficult, but yes, it is working. So thanks guys for watching. I really like this figure. I think it's a good alternative to my Marvel Legends Rocket Raccoon with SHF standards, so that's cool. I really hope that they will make Drax, and they will make Gamora. Where's my Gamora? They will make Gamora at least, probably not Mantis, but if they can make Mantis also, that will be great, and that will be awesome. Probably the big Groot as well. So subscribe to the channel, like the video. Goodbye.